Hello everyone, welcome to the class of Transportation Engineering 2 again. In the previous lecture, we have studied about the features of Indian Railways, in which we have studied how the P-way track is constructed, how the permanent way is managed, and the materials for them are being tested and implemented over there. Also, we have studied various components of P-way. Now, in this lecture, we shall be proceeding apart from the permanent way or P-way track. In this lecture, we shall be focusing on the wheels and axle arrangements of the locomotive. Why? Because after once we have studied this P-way track, what loads are coming on the P-way and how do we, uh, establish the locomotive wheels or the wagon wheels on the P-way. That is a very important aspect to study while we study railway engineering. Okay, so let's start with that. Yeah. So in this lecture, we'll be covering the following topics, that is wheel and axle arrangement, classification of locomotives, coning of wheels, tilting of rails and adzing of sleepers, the track modulus which is used in Indian Railways, and the main forces which are acting on the tracks. Okay, so let's start with wheels and axles. Now, before we study wheels and axles, you should know one thing, that this study of wheels and axles was, first came into being when we started using the steam locomotive. So traditionally, the steam locomotives have been classified by their wheel arrangement itself. That is the reason why this wheel counting, or you can say wheel and axle study, became so important in Indian Railways. Why? Because traditionally, the steam locomotives were classified on the basis of their wheel arrangement. Okay, so under this arrangement, this arrangement or the system of counting wheels and thereby classifying the locomotives is known as what? Is known as White system. Okay. Now, under this particular White system, what happens is we count the non-powered and powered, that means driving wheels. ठीक है, तो एक लोकोमोटिव में दो टाइप्स के व्हील्स होते हैं. इंस्टेड ऑफ काउंटिंग एक्सेल, सी देयर आर कंट्रीज जहां पर एक्सेल काउंटिंग होती है. ठीक है, इंस्टेड ऑफ व्हील्स दे काउंट द नंबर ऑफ एक्सेल. बट हमारे यहाँ पे इंडिया में क्या है, इंडियन रेलवेज अडॉप्ट द प्रैक्टिस इन विच द व्हील्स आर काउंट एंड नॉट जस्ट द एक्सेल. अब व्हील्स, अगर लोग सिर्फ लोकोमोटिव की बात करते हैं, लोकोमोटिव्स में व्हील्स दो टाइप के होते हैं, एक जो पावर ड्रिवन होते हैं, एक जो नॉन पावर ड्रिवन होते हैं. दैट मीन्स जो एक्चुअल ड्राइविंग व्हील्स होते हैं वो कौन से होते हैं, जो पावर ड्रिवन होते हैं, विच आर डायरेक्टली अटैच टू द मोटर इटसेल्फ. ओके, सो दोज आर योर पावर ड्रिवन व्हील, जो एक्चुअल में ट्रैक्टिव फोर्स लगाते हैं, और ड्यू टू दैट ट्रैक्टिव फोर्स द ट्रैक्शन इज जनरेटेड एंड द ट्रैक्शन इज ओवरकम, and therefore after overcoming the resistance the train starts moving. ठीक है, और जो बाकी के नॉन पावर्ड व्हील्स होते हैं वो होते हैं आपके सपोर्टिंग व्हील्स. ओके, ये सपोर्टिंग व्हील्स आपके ब्रेकिंग में यूज होते हैं, प्लस नॉर्मल स्टेबिलिटी प्रोवाइड करने के लिए. ठीक है. Yeah, so one of the very common example, we will take one example for studying this particular system. For example, if you are given a wheel and axle system of 242, okay, which means the first two stands for the front wheel. That means two wheels are front wheels. As a front wheel, two wheels are there. Then the middle four stands for central wheel or driving or powered wheel. Okay, so this the number in the center is representing what? Representing the power driven wheel. So here four wheels are there. That means the total number of axles will be, one axle will be having two wheels. So the total number of axles will be two. Similarly, in the front wheel, there were two number of wheels. So the total number of axle was one. And thereby, therefore, in the trailing wheels also, the last digit denotes the trailing wheel. That is again two numbers. That means one axle. Now, apart from this numbering system, a suffix is also used to indicate the type of tank provided in the engine. Now, this was used for the steam locomotive. Why? Because the steam locomotives were used to have a tank with them, attached tank with them, water tank, which was used to create the steam. So this there are certain suffix which were used to signify what type of tank was attached to the locomotive. Okay, so the T stands for a tank engine, then ST stands for saddle tank, WT stands for well tank, and PT stands for pannier tank. These are the kind of tank or the types of tanks which were attached to the which used to be attached to the steam locomotive earlier. Okay, now the earlier example was of a very this thing, simple locomotive. Now, if there is a arrangement of compound locomotive, loco means loco here stands for locomotive. So if there is a arrangement of compound locomotive, then what will happen? The example will be like 282 plus 284. So here this plus stands for compound locomotive, that is two particular frame, framed locomotives are attached together to form a compound locomotive. Okay, so a compound locomotive may have two or three sets of coupled power driving axles also. Okay, so the next example is 2882. That means in this particular example 2882, the front wheels are two, that means one axle. Then driving wheels are in two couples. Okay, two couples means there are uh, this thing. The first eight stands for eight wheels means four axles. Okay, eight wheels means four axles. The second eight means again four axles. So first four and second four, both the four, there are total eight axles are there which are coupled together. Okay, so therefore this is known as a compound locomotive. And the last two again stands for the same, the trailing wheels or the trailing axle. Okay. Now the European this was Indian arrangement. European arrangement is to count the axle rather than the wheel. For example, 1 to 1 stands for one axle is your front driving wheel, then two axles is your driving axles, then again the trailing axle is one again. अगर इसी को हम लोग convert कर लेंगे Indian practices में, so this 1 to 1 will become what 2 4 2. Okay, जो सबसे पहला example लिया था, that was 2 4 2. This is a 2 4 2 locomotive. So in if a European locomotive is said to be 1 to 1 locomotive, then Indian locomotive उसी रैंक पे या उसी ग्रेड पे अगर हम बात करें तो क्या होगा 2 4. ओके, नाउ दैट वाज फॉर स्टीम लोकोमोटिव जो कि अब ऑब्सोलीट हो चुके हैं. ठीक है, अब हम बात करेंगे किसकी, डीजल एंड इलेक्ट्रिक लोकोमोटिव जो कि आज के टाइम में हम लोग यूज करते हैं. So the powered axle in diesel locomotives are described by using the letters, and unpowered axles are indicated by digits as A, B, O. Okay, A stands for single powered axle on a bogie. Okay, then BO stands for a set of two independently powered axles on a bogie. Okay, then CO stands for a set of three independently powered axles on a bogie. DO stands for, or D stands for a set of four power axles. Okay, so here letter signifies what, the number of axles, which the number of powered axles and the number of unpowered axles, if there are any, they are indicated by digits. Okay, so a combination of BO, that is Bobo, will stand for, will signify what, a locomotive with two bogies each having two separately powered axles. Okay, similarly CO stands for a loco with two bogies each with three powered axles. Okay, why? Because earlier हमने देखा था CO का जो prefix लगाया हमने, CO का मतलब क्या है, CO means a set of three independently powered axles on a bogie. ठीक है, इसके बाद अगेन द सेम एग्जांपल ओवर हियर, डायग्रामेटिक रिप्रेजेंटेशन से थोड़ा क्लियर होगा. ठीक है, अब BO 3 बार अगर हम BO लिख रहे हैं, it refers to a locomotive with three bogies having two coupled axles together, coupled powered axles together. ठीक है, why BO? और अगर यही CO होता तो that means the each bogie will be having what, three coupled axles together, powered axles together. Okay, so as in the second case, it is clearly indicated that the axles, the BB case, the clearly indicated that the axles are not independent but coupled mechanically. So what happens after this? The same motor drives all the axles in the bogie. Okay. Now here is the diagram where you can easily understand how the wheels are placed on a track or a rail. Okay, and how the arrangement of wheels and axles is there, which helps in moving and braking mechanism. Okay, so over here we'll start from the topmost portion. In this diagram you can see there is a traction motor. There is a traction motor on the top. That traction motor is consisting a motor pinion. Okay, this motor pinion is attached to intermediate gear wheel. Okay, so these two gear wheels are moved as soon as the motor starts. The motor pinion starts moving, and this motor pinion, since it is attached to the two intermediate gear wheels, these gear wheels will start moving. And since the gear wheels are attached to the okay, since these gear wheels are further attached to the main gear wheels driving axle. Okay, so these gear wheels will ultimately drive the axle. And since the axle is attached to the wheels itself, the wheels will start driving, or wheel will start moving. And since the entire locomotive is resting on the wheel itself, and for the wheels are further resting on the rails itself, the movement will start taking place. Okay. Similarly, when the braking has to be applied, this motor pinion has to be stopped. Okay, and then the gear wheel stops, and then with the help of air brakes, the or vacuum pressure, release of the vacuum pressure, what happens is the braking is applied. Okay. Okay. Now, next topic is classification of locomotive. Now, classification of locomotives is done on various number of basis for the classification. So, firstly, we'll classify the locomotives based on what? On the basis of there are three categories. On the basis of these are classified on the basis of gauge for which they are manufactured, the type of traction which is available, and the type of load to be carried. Okay. Now these are indicated using an alphabet. First classification is classification on the basis of gauge for which it is manufactured. So for broad gauge, the alphabet which signifies is X or W. Okay. Then meter gauge stands for Y. Then Z stands for narrow gauge. Similarly, the classification on the basis of type of traction available is diesel. It is signified by D. Then A stands for AC electric locomotive, and C stands for DC electric locomotive. Okay. Then comes your classification on the basis of type of load to be carried. So the light passenger locomotives would be represented by A, standard passenger would be represented by B, heavy passenger would be represented by C, standard goods by D, heavy goods by E, and mixed goods and passengers by M. And shuttle or shunting locomotives would be classified or represented with the help of three symbols, that is U, T, and W. Okay, based on the purpose they are fulfilling. Because in shunting or shuttle, we'll study shunting when we'll be studying yard. But for right now, shunting को ऐसे समझ लो कि the process of attaching and detaching or formation of train. ठीक है, एक ट्रेन में कितने बोगीज लगाने हैं, डिटैच करने हैं, अटैच करने हैं, या लोकोमोटिव अटैच करना, उस प्रोसेस को हम लोग बोलते हैं शंटिंग. या ट्रेन यार्ड में लेके जाना, वहां से वापस लेके आना, these are all known as shunting. So for shunting, we all have different types of locomotives. Okay, so here is a typical example of a diesel locomotive used in Indian Railways. Okay. Okay. Here is classification of locomotives, that is electric locomotive. Okay, this is a typical electric locomotive used in Indian Railways. This is WAP5 engine. This W, A, and P5 stands for the various categories. W stands for broad gauge. A stands for we have studied the electric locomotive. Okay, and then the P5, M1, M4, all these stands for the hauling capacity of these particular locomotives. Okay. Now, in this entire thing, the axle and the wheel particular topic, this coning of wheel is a very critical issue which has to be studied. Now, many of you might be wondering, or many of you might think the wheel of the train or the wheel flange of the train is actually flat. Okay. But it is not true. It is actually not true. अगर हम बात करें नॉर्मल हमारे 4 व्हीलर्स या जो भी हाईवेज पे हम लोगों के जितने व्हीकल्स होते हैं, ओके, तो उनके जो व्हील्स होते हैं दोज आर हैविंग अ फ्लैट बॉटम. बट इन केस ऑफ लोकोमोटिव व्हील्स द बॉटम इज नॉट फ्लैट. अगर हम फ्लैट व्हील यूज करेंगे, पहले हम देखते हैं कि फ्लैट व्हील यूज करने से क्या प्रॉब्लम है. तो अगर हम जैसा तुम इस डायग्राम में देख सकते हो सब लोग, ठीक है, कि दिस इफ वी यूज अ फ्लैट व्हील एंड विच इज रेस्टिंग ऑन अ रेल, तो सबसे पहले तो हमें रेल भी फ्लैट सरफेस चाहिए, जो कि एक्चुअल में नहीं होता. द टॉप सरफेस ऑफ द रेल इज नॉट कंप्लीटली फ्लैट. ओके. Yeah, and then suppose if we make the use of flat wheel, then there are two major problems which will occur. First is the lateral sway on the straight track will be there. Secondly, unequal movement on curved rail will be there. That means जब flat wheel move करेगा, see in this diagram you can see the wheel flange is there, okay, जो कि rail के side पे which actually touches on the side of the rail. तो lateral movement जो होगा, lateral sway होगा जो ट्रेन का, वो नहीं हो पाएगा, या फिर that will be restricted with the help of the flange, and this flange will be continuously rubbing on the surface of rail, and it will be deteriorating the rail as well as the flange surface also. Okay. Now the same thing happens in this unequal movement on the curved rails also. अगर रेल सरफेस हमारा फ्लैट है, तो जैसे ही कर्व पे हम लोगों की ट्रेन मूव करेगी, तो क्या होगा उस टाइम पे, ये जो फ्लैंज सरफेस है ये टूट जाएगा. क्यों? बिकॉज ऑफ द फोर्स, द लेटरल फोर्सेस being exerted on this particular flange. ओके. सो इन दो मेजर प्रॉब्लम्स को अवॉइड करने के लिए हम क्या करते हैं, कोनिंग ऑफ व्हील्स इज डन. ठीक है. दिस कोनिंग ऑफ व्हील हेल्प्स इन ऑन, अगर स्ट्रेट ट्रैक पे बात करें, तो दिस कोनिंग ऑफ व्हील helps in what? It helps in bringing back wheel to the average diameter by slipping the wheel. And on a curved track, it shifts the wheel, it shifts the outer wheel towards the outer side. Okay, and thus it causes an increase in the dia that helps it in moving longer distance on outer curve as compared to inner wheel, for which the diameter reduces, and thus it makes it what? It makes it traverse shorter distance. Okay. तो दो केसेस है जहां पर कोनिंग ऑफ व्हील इज वेरी हेल्पफुल. फर्स्ट वन इज ऑन अ स्ट्रेट ट्रैक, सेकंड वन इज ऑन अ कर्व ट्रैक. स्ट्रेट ट्रैक पे क्या होता है, जो व्हील है, ठीक है, द व्हील इज ब्रॉट बैक टू द एवरेज डायमीटर बाय स्लिपिंग द व्हील इन द टुवर्ड्स द इनर साइड. और कर्व ट्रैक पे क्या होता है, द व्हील इज शिफ्टेड टुवर्ड्स द आउटर साइड, या आउटवर्ड शिफ्टिंग हो जाती है, जिस वजह से तुम्हारा क्या होता है, डाया रिड्यूस हो जाता है. ठीक है. we'll try to understand this with the help of this diagram. ठीक है. जो इसमें फर्स्ट डायग्राम है, फर्स्ट डायग्राम में देखो, the first diagram denotes the condition when the train is moving in a straight direction. तो अगर straight alignment में train move कर रही है, तो यहाँ पर तुम लोग देख सकते हो कि the rail is actually in contact with the wheel at the center of the wheel. Okay, and the second diagram is of actually a right hand curve. तो जब right hand curve है, the train will start moving towards the right hand. तो जैसे जैसे straight alignment से जैसे ही train right hand की तरफ move करना शुरू करेगी, now since the rigidity of wheel base is there, okay, wheel base जो हमारा axle है, that is rigid, it is not flexible, उसको हम move नहीं करा सकते. So therefore in order to counteract this rigidity of wheel base, हम लोग coning कर देते हैं. This coning of wheel is done on a slope of 1 in 20. ठीक है. तो ये 1 in 20 का जो स्लोप हम देते हैं, इसकी हेल्प से हमने क्या किया, जैसे ही ट्रेन, सेकंड डायग्राम देखो, जैसे ही ट्रेन राइट हैंड साइड में मूव करना शुरू करेगी, तो जो राइट वाला रेल है, राइट वाला व्हील है, दिस राइट व्हील विल स्टार्ट शिफ्टिंग, the entire wheel axle will in fact start shifting towards the left side. ओके, आउटवर्ड डायरेक्शन, जो अभी हमने डेफिनेशन में पढ़ा था, आउटवर्ड डायरेक्शन मूव करेगा। ठीक, तो जैसे ये आउटवर्ड डायरेक्शन में मूव करना शुरू होगा तो लेफ्ट रेल क्या करेगा, लेफ्ट रेल विल मूव टुवर्ड्स द इनर साइड ऑन द व्हील फ्लैंक, ठीक है, एंड इट विल स्टार्ट टचिंग द व्हील फ्लैंक, देयरफॉर द derailment will be avoided. And on similarly on the right hand, इंस्टेड ऑफ ये कि व्हील फ्लैंज राइट हैंड साइड का टूटे या रिजिडिटी अवॉइड हो, रिजिडिटी रहे, रिजिडिटी अवॉइड होती है कैसे, जो व्हील, जो रेल है, रेल सरफेस, it is actually in contact with the wheel towards the outer portion or outer section of the wheel. Okay, like this one, जो diagram में दिया हुआ. Okay. So I hope the coning of the wheel is clear with the help of these two diagrams. Just imagine in the right, the left hand side diagram, the first diagram is actually a diagram of a train moving straight, and second one is when the wheel axle or the wheel assembly is moving on a right hand curve. Okay, so this coning actually helps in controlling differential movement of front and rear axle caused due to the rigidity of frame and axle, and thus acting as a balancing factor. ठीक है, जो अभी हमने डायग्राम में देखा था कि क्या, कि due to the differential movement and rigidity of the wheel base, it creates a balance. कोनिंग करने से एक बैलेंस क्रिएट हो जाता है. So either the movement is towards, whether the movement is towards left side or whether the movement is towards the right side, doesn't matter, but क्या होता है कि जो बैलेंस है वो क्रिएट हो जाता है उस व्हील फ्लैंक्स पे और व्हील सरफेस पे. Okay, and thereby it protects the wheel from getting derailed, and therefore also the train getting derailed. Okay, the second advantage of coning of wheel is it reduces wear and tear of the wheel flanges. अगर फर्स्ट केस जो हमने assume किया था, that is फ्लैट व्हील के केस में अगर हम लोग बात करें तो क्या होता है, व्हील फ्लैंजेस का wear and tear बहुत जल्दी होता है. इनफैक्ट it will not be on curves, it will not be able to move, the train will itself will not be able to move also. Okay, thirdly a smooth riding is provided. तो जैसे तुम सुपर एलिवेशन भी प्रोवाइड करोगे या कर्व्स पे ट्रेन को टिल्टिंग कराओगे, एडजिंग कराओगे स्लीपर की, तो a smooth riding will be there due to coning of wheel. Okay, now what is the these were the advantage. Now what is the disadvantage or problem with using coning of wheel? तो हम लोग कोनिंग तो कर देंगे, लेकिन प्रॉब्लम क्या आएगा, वेयर एंड टेयर ड्यू टू द स्लिपिंग एक्शन. जो रेल पे स्लिपिंग होगी कंटिन्यूसली, उसकी वजह से a certain wear and tear of the wheels will take place. ठीक, बट इस चीज को हम लोग अवॉइड नहीं कर सकते क्योंकि फ्लैट सर्फेसेस यूज करना इज इवन वर्सर देन दिस केस. तो देयरफॉर ये प्रॉब्लम हमें एज इट इज एक्सेप्ट करनी पड़ती है. वी कैन रिड्यूस दिस थिंग, reduce the wear and tear due to slipping action by providing certain angles, by providing certain permissible this thing super elevation or cant within the permissible limit. Okay. Which is actually the broad gauge slip is actually 0.029 meters per degree curve. Okay, on a normal this thing coning of wheel. Now second problem with this coning of wheel is eccentric loading on rail. So अगर फ्लैट सरफेस होता रेल का भी और व्हील का भी, तो जो लोडिंग होती है वो कैसे होती है, डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड. लेकिन इस केस में क्या है, सिंस ओनली अ सर्टेन पोर्शन ऑफ रेल इज इन कांटेक्ट विद सर्टेन पोर्शन ऑफ द व्हील, तो एसेंट्रिसिटी एसेंट्रिक लोडिंग होने लग गई है किस पे, रेल. ठीक है, तो व्हील की जो लोडिंग एसेंट्रिसिटी है दैट इज चेंज. Now coning of wheels के साथ साथ एक टॉपिक चलता है that is tilting of rails and edging of sleeper. ठीक है, this tilting and edging of rails and sleeper is basically technically the same. Okay, technically same कैसे, it is basically tilting at an angle of 1 in 20. ठीक है, तो हम 1 in 20 का स्लोप प्रोवाइड कर देते हैं किसमें, रेल्स में, एज वेल एज एडजिंग ऑफ स्लीपर. जब हम रेल्स में करते हैं तो दिस इज नोन एज टिल्टिंग ऑफ रेल्स. जब हम यही चीज स्लीपर्स में करते हैं तो इट इज नोन एज एडजिंग ऑफ स्लीपर्स. ओके, इससे फायदा क्या होता है, इट कंट्रोल्स द लेटरल बेंडिंग स्ट्रेस ड्यू टू eccentric loading, and it also reduces the wear and tear at inner edge of the rail and on the tread of wheel. ठीक है, रेल्स हम लोग अगर हम लोग रेल्स फ्लैट सरफेस पर प्रोवाइड करें और कोनिंग एज इट इज रहने, ठीक है, तो ये जो स्लिप हो रहा था थोड़ी देर पहले हमने पढ़ा था, एसेंट्रिक लोडिंग और स्लिप जो प्रॉब्लम हो रही थी कोनिंग ऑफ व्हील्स की वजह से, वो बहुत ज्यादा होती है. So in order to reduce that wear and tear as well as reduction in the slip and lateral bending stresses due to eccentric loading, हम लोग रेल्स को भी क्या करते हैं 120 टिल्ट करते हैं. तो अब क्या हुआ, अब फायदा ये हुआ कि टिल्टिंग ऑफ रेल से जो कोनिंग ऑफ व्हील्स की प्रॉब्लम थी वो रिड्यूस हो गई. Okay. Similarly, adzing of sleepers or use of canted bearing plates is also done at 1 in 20 degrees, 1 in 20 slope. Okay. Here is a diagrammatic representation of the tilting of rails. Okay. See here, over here. This diagram shows coning of wheels. Then, if you'll have a look on the rails, you'll see the rails are also tilted at a slope of 1 in 20. And then finally, the sleeper, if you'll see, there is a tilt in the sleeper as well, which is known as adzing of sleepers. This is done while manufacturing the sleepers itself. Okay, in iron or steel sleepers, this used to be done with the help of this canted bearing plate. Okay, लोग उसमें canted bearing plates लगाते थे, which were already tilted, manufactured, and that too in 1 in 20 slope. Okay, now we'll see what forces acts on a track. अगर आप नॉर्मली बात करोगे तो you'll think कि फोर्सेस तो नॉर्मली सिर्फ एक ही एक्ट करेगा, जो ट्रेन का या लोकोमोटिव का या वैगन्स का जो फोर्स होगा, ठीक है. बट टू बी वेरी स्पेसिफिक एंड in order to design the entire PV track, we need to be very specific and detailed in considering the entire forces which are acting on a track. So here are the forces which are acting on the track. The very first one is vertical dead loads and dynamic augment. That is the loads, the dead loads of the locomotive, the P-way components, as well as the thing wagons also. Okay, so the entire rolling stock is creating a dead load and dynamic augment on the P-way. Then comes the lateral forces. Lateral forces are due to lateral movements of loads, eccentricity, and shunting, etc. Okay, even while the movement of the train is there, on the curves you can you can see there is a rise in the lateral forces. Suppose if the train is moving in the right hand side towards on a right hand curve, then the lateral forces will be more towards the left hand side, that is in the outward direction. Now the next type of force is longitudinal forces. Okay, these longitudinal forces are actually the tractive effort and braking forces. Okay, so जब train आगे की तरफ move कर रही है, so a force is acting, a tractive force acts in the rear direction, okay, in the opposite direction, which creates an impact and creates an eccentric loading on the rail track or P-way itself. Okay, similarly जब braking action हो रहा है या train के brake लगाए जा रहे हैं, तो उस time पे क्या होगा, in an opposite direction, in the direction opposite to the movement of the train, a force will be acting. That will be also longitudinal force in nature. Okay. Now, due to certain design considerations, only 50% of the total lateral force is taken to be acting on the rail. This lateral forces basically produces lateral deflection, horizontal bending of rails. There are twists in the rail and bending of head and foot of the rail, which are visible only after a certain fatigue and certain point of time, when repeatedly these loads are being applied on the rail, and due to the application of these loads repeatedly, the surface or the rails have gone deteriorated or defects in rail arise. Okay, तो तभी हम लोगों को ये जो defects हैं ये lateral forces के ये visible होते हैं. Okay, and as we have discussed, the longitudinal forces are caused due to tractive effort of the locomotive, then braking force of the wheel, and also one thing which we have missed out is in case of welded rails, the temperature variation is there. Okay, so due to the temperature variation in welded rails, the longitudinal forces are also caused. Now, these longitudinal forces due to tractive effort, when we consider, these are basically 30 to 40% by weight of locomotive itself. Okay, this is the nominal value. In case if we are not given the longitudinal tractive force, generally it is 30 to 40%, between 30 to 40% of weight of locomotive. And also the longitudinal force on account of braking force, it is 15 to 20% of braking force of locomotive, and 10 to 15% weight of trailing load. That is the loads of the entire rolling stock. Okay, so this was all about the wheels and axles you needed to know. Here are the readings from the Indian Railways, and which is written by Dr. Saxena and Arora. And also you can refer to the books Indian Railways by the Railway Engineering by Chandra and Agarwal. Okay. Thank you very much.